You're listening to Veg Your Best. There has never been a more important time to be vegan. At Veg Your Best, I want to help you. I want to help you limit and eliminate the consumption of animal products without feeling deprived, overwhelmed, or unsupported, even if no one you know is vegan. My name's Michelle Olander. I'm a life coach, and I know that if I could go vegan in my 50s with all my excuses, I know you can start moving in that direction too. Veg your best, and there's nothing you can't do. Episode 123. Vegan hacks and tips. So, Veg Your Besties, here's a topic I wasn't sure that I was going to share. In the lead up to the new year, about 6 weeks ago, I was contacted by a couple of media outlets, and I was asked to give some tips and tricks, tips on how to lose weight by going vegan. And, at first I was really kind of delighted to be asked, really delighted, kind of proud that I have built Veg Your Best and the podcast. And yeah, I was delighted to be asked, but also, and I don't really do that. I don't give people tips on how to lose weight. And though my certification as a life coach did include weight loss coaching, it's not something I have hacks and tips about. As one of the journalists asked me, I'd like to know your top hacks. Well, I just don't think that way. Because when my clients work with me, they make their own rules, and I help them learn to listen to themselves. I help them learn to follow their own plans and, yes, to obey themselves. Because we all have this dichotomy, right? The part of our body, the part of our brain, the part of our habits that just run on the default cycle. And then there's the part of our brain that makes a plan. And coaching is what helps us, I think, most effectively reconcile those two parts of our behavior in our brain. So I don't think that you can hack developing your own self-trust. I don't think you can hack your integrity with yourself. And I don't think you can really hack coaching. And that's my opinion. And yes, you can probably hack dropping some weight temporarily, but I don't think you can hack what is more valuable to me and what I think is more valuable to my clients. And that is dropping the weight of the weight. Dropping the weight of thinking about weight. Dropping the weight of focusing on weight. Dropping the weight of waiting for the weight to be gone. Dropping the weight, how do I say this, of researching weight loss and wondering what the new hack is, what the new tips are. And it's very possible to lose weight, but I think there's no hack for it. And I think there's no snappy 5-part tip sheet. So unfortunately for my business anyway, the way I approach it, the way I think about it is just not easily distilled into a listicle. And you know what listicles are, right? You may not know the term, but you see them literally all the time. 5 ways to drop 10 pounds, top 10 vegan hacks, 3 ways to lose your menopause middle. They're those snappy lists that are easy to read, they are enticing, and they don't really teach you anything. So I told the media outlets, the two of them, with some regret. I did have regret about it, and that's why I wasn't sure I was going to talk about this. But I said, I really don't do that. And I know all the business coaches I know are just literally throwing their hands in the air if they're listening to me today. But I kind of had on top of the delight of being asked, I kind of had a bad attitude about it. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting, right? Because I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to, I probably could do it. I could probably put together something like Veg Your Best in 6 short weeks, fast vegan weight loss for the new year, or cut fat by cutting the cheese in 30 days or less. Something, right? And maybe I will kick it around. It's on my calendar to revisit next fall, but maybe next year I will figure out something like that, because it probably would actually be a good way to get more listeners over here at Veg Your Best. And I do want more people to listen. I think the more people who get a little extra support and fellowship and feel more confident about their ability to live a vibrant, happy, excited, compassionate life while limiting and eliminating the consumption of animal products, I think that's all good stuff. And it is why I'm here. So maybe I will come up with some kind of approved listicle to share with the media next year. But anyway, that's why I wasn't actually going to share my ambivalence about this idea of New Year hacks and tips for vegans, in case I do want to do something more in that direction next year. So I'm letting you know very real time, very transparently, my thought process about this, because I believe there might be a way to make my messaging a bit snappier, maybe a bit sexier, a little more enticing to a larger mass audience, but without saying something that I don't want to say. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. But what is interesting is at the same time, at the end of the year that I was getting this request for tips and hacks to lose weight as a vegan, one of my clients sent me a quote that she had circled in her notes from, I guess it was the end of 2021. And she said that she keeps revisiting this note. And the note said, "Oh, what we see when we finally stop looking. Oh, what we see when we finally stop looking." And I didn't actually remember saying it, which is always fun because that happens all the time. People tell me I said something, but I don't know if she said it or I said it. Anyway, she wrote it down while we were coaching and had kept that note in her journal at the front. And it reminded me why I say that I don't really talk a lot about vegan coaching for weight loss. And there are a lot of different reasons for that, because I get a lot of business people assuming that that's why I do this, that I help people move towards a plant-based or vegan practice in order to lose weight, which is not entirely true. Or they ask me why I'm not marketing my work or my podcast in that direction. People ask me, why would you ever even want to limit or eliminate eating animals if it weren't to lose weight? And so, those are questions from a business standpoint, from a mass media standpoint that are interesting. And maybe I am. Maybe I'm leaving money on the table. Maybe I'm leaving my little section of a $58 billion industry on the table. And that's just in the U.S. $58 billion, the weight loss industry. And if that is your focus right now, this winter, this new year, losing weight, it is a completely worthy goal. I'm not discounting that. Many of us want to lose weight. Many of us want to look different, feel differently in our clothes, feel differently taking part in activities. And that is a perfectly fine thing to want to change or want to tweak. Many, many, many good reasons to lose weight. Sometimes our doctors have actually asked us to consider losing weight, or we're experiencing joint issues from the weight, or we have metabolic disease. But honestly, the reason that it's a $58 billion industry annually just in the U.S. is because it's endless. It never ends for most people. And it sucks up, in the meantime, it sucks up so much time and focus and energy and emotion on top of, yes, all that money. And I personally think that you might want to put that time and focus and energy and emotion and maybe money into something else. Is that completely mad? Because most of the people I work with, many of them are vegan or plant-based or moving in that direction. And they like working with me because they like working with someone who is a life coach but also has the same or similar values as a vegan. And I'm not going to come at them with with ideas of eating high-protein animal products when they mention a goal like losing weight. But when they do mention a goal like losing weight, I am very likely to ask them, well, what do you want to do instead of eating for fun? Instead of eating for connection? What do you want to do instead of eating for solace or eating to chill out or eating when you're bored or at loose ends or anxious? Instead of focusing on your eating, what do you want to do? Right? If you didn't think that your weight needed to change, how do you think you would be spending your one precious life? Because most of the time when people tell me, I want to lose weight, most of the people I talk to know exactly where the problem is in terms of eating and weight. They know where the overeating happens. They know exactly where the poor food choices happen. They know right where they are not consistently doing what they know they would do if they were implementing the plan for weight loss. So if you said you wanted to work with me to lose weight, I would probably ask you what you want to do instead. What do you want to do? Instead of focusing on what you're eating and your weight, and so many of you say to me, your first responses are, well, okay, yeah, first I want to figure out the weight thing. As if you don't have the permission or the right to focus on something cool or fun or challenging or awesome or next level until that weight thing is settled, All the time I get this. Or they say, why would I need to work with a life coach to do something fun or challenging or awesome or next level, Michelle? That part will be easy. That part will be fun. That's where I'm trying to get. I know I can do that. But how can I do that when I haven't lost my weight yet? That's first, right? And if it really is, if losing weight is really your priority, sure, we can coach on that. But my Veg Your Bestie, I bet you have a much cooler dream, a much more exciting plan, a much more fun idea than spending your focus on losing weight. Too many of us, especially many of my clients, we are women in midlife or older, and we've been postponing things for years. We've been postponing things for decades until we lose weight. And the result is we aren't living the life we want and the life we have right now. Because we've all heard we need to set a goal and focus on that and not have a million ideas. And so many of us think that we need to get this done first, get the weight off first. Then we can start the business. Then we can plan the trip or try for a new job or a degree or stir something up in our relationships or look for a new relationship. And for sure, I want you to weigh whatever you want. And for sure, I want you to fit into any piece of clothing that you want to. And for sure, I like the idea of you feeling comfortable and confident and happy with how you look. But so often that takes care of itself when you are seeing the way you can live each day the way you really want to, rather than looking for ways to weigh less. And that is exactly what my client had written down in her journal. Oh, what we see when we finally stop looking. This week, or even today, what do you think that might mean for you? What might you see if you stopped looking? For some of my clients, I get to watch, and it is so fun. I get to watch as they start to see what they do have the ability to do right now. As they start to see where they can start, where their life already affords them choices right now that they're not taking advantage of because they've been focusing, they've been looking for weight loss for so long. It is such a distraction for many of us. And I'm not discounting it. I'm not discounting it as something that doesn't matter. But what if you didn't have to look for any other way to lose weight? And instead, you could spend that energy seeing how you want to live in the moments you have right now. Did you know that that's allowed? Did you know that's not against the law? Did you know that you can start the things you want before you lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 50 pounds? You can work on your relationships and your creativity. You can work on making movement and nature and community involvement and laughter and discovery and adventure and purpose. You can work on all of that right now in all the places around you that you aren't even seeing while you keep looking at weight loss, while you keep focusing on what you want to change about yourself, while you're looking to fix yourself. So that's why I love resolutions. And I know so many of you don't. That's why I love goals for my clients. But I'm going to urge your resolution and your goal to not be about fixing things, to be about seeing what's amazing right now and seeing where you could be building and creating with what you've got right now. Your future doesn't start when you lose weight, my Veggie Bestie. Your future starts now and now and now and now. And if you want to work on seeing that with a coach who thinks that that's the most compassionate and loving way to live, I might just be your coach this year. And if you stopped looking for ways to lose weight, what do you think you would see? Okay, kids. So I'm probably going to work on a snappier headline to say that for next year. But in the meantime, if you know someone who might want some of these messages every week in their phone, on their podcast app, please do share the podcast. And we have some amazing guests scheduled for the first months of 2023. And as I said last week, all this month, I'm working informally coaching anyone who wants to for free. I'm working with anyone who wants to work on a January vegan challenge or Veganuary, all for free this month. So we're doing very informal calls and texts and emails, anything that will help you with your vegan practice, because a vegan practice takes practice. And starting is the only way to get some practice. And yes, all that advice works for anything else you want to do. So please do take advantage of me this month. Ask yourself, what would I see if I stopped looking? What would you see if you stopped looking? Okay, kids, veg your best, and I will see you next week. Veg Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Veg Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.